So, welcome to the 1% podcast show, where we call people who have faced some challenges in their life, overcame the challenges, and of course, they did something remarkable. So, today on our show, we have Dr. Richa Gupta. Dr. Richa Gupta has been working in Dubai as a director in a leading, very prestigious path lab chain in Dubai. And she originally is from India, and she learned a lot of lessons during her journey, whatever she achieved, and she's going to share it with us. So let's call Dr. Richa Gupta on the stage and learn from her life, her lessons. So here we invite Dr. Richa Gupta. Welcome, Dr. Richa Gupta. How are you?
Fine, good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure to have you here. So today we are going to talk about you, your life, your struggles, and of course how you overcame all those challenges and became what you are today. So just give me a brief about yourself. First of all, where do you originally belong to and where do you reside now?
I belong to city of Taj and now moved to Dubai around 10 years back. So now Dubai has become our second home professionally and personally.
Wow, that's great. So that means you have been living in Dubai now for last 10 years?
Yeah, almost 10 years.
Okay, tell me something about your educational background as well.
I have done my schooling from Agra, Uttar Pradesh. Then my graduation MBBS I have completed from KIMS Bangalore, and then post graduation I have done from the Government Medical College Sholapur. After that,
Okay.
I have done my senior residency from one of the prestigious Institute of India, AIMS New Delhi, in the Oncology Center. There, after finishing my senior residency, I moved to Agra. There, I work as a
Okay.
chief of lab in Lal Pathology in one of the busiest hospital of Agra. After
Yes.
that, the life was going on, and then we got the opportunity to move to Dubai. Then we shifted to Dubai.
So what made you think about this shift, like moving? Because generally people when they do their MD and all that, especially most of the doctors, they tend to stay back, have their hospitals or practice here. So what was one thing that forced you, maybe compelled you, or attracted you to shift your base to Dubai?
Honestly, I will say there was no plan to shift to Dubai. Actually, it came like a coincidence has happened. One of our friend visited us from Dubai. Then we were discussing about the healthcare infrastructure and about the safety, security, and the work culture, everything.
Mm.
But those information we have gathered for giving to our another friend. So those friends were preparing to go looking opportunity to work outside India. So we have
Okay.
gathered all the information to pass on to our other friend. But in the
Okay.
meantime, we were also gradually exploring about Dubai, the world culture, the
Mm. Mm.
infrastructure, and everything. So slowly, gradually, our interest grew, and we thought that maybe we are comfortable in our zone, but to grow professionally and financially also, we have to take
Mm.
risk. So that's why
Mm.
me and my husband decided, okay, we will try for Dubai and we will take the chance. So that's why
Wow.
our journey shifted from India.
Wonderful, wonderful. Nice to know that. Sometimes you want to help somebody else, and in the process, you help yourself as well. So that's I always say actually that if you help enough people to be successful, enough people will help you to be successful.
True.
And this is one of those cases. Now you are successful there. You are working as a director in a chain of path labs, as I'm told, and that is from a prestigious hospital of Dubai.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, I'm working as a laboratory director for managing four hospital laboratory and managing around 50 to 60 laboratory staffs and managing the operation aspect of the laboratory, then the accreditation, then the quality assurance, and as overall overseeing all aspect of the including operation, technical, administration of the laboratory of
Wow.
this lab.
Wow. It must be quite challenging, but I'm sure that the challenges that you faced when you, for the first time, you went out, those challenges must have been much, much larger than this challenge that you're facing now. So, can you tell something about your challenges when you shifted to Dubai initially?
Uh,
Was it easy or difficult, or how was it?
no. Every time when you move from your comfort zone is a challenge and you are taking risks, so you have to adapt to that environment. And for us,
Right.
it's really very, for me, it's very challenging because from India, we are coming to a multinational city
Mm,
because Dubai is a
mm,
multicultural nationalities are
mm,
there,
mm,
and
mm,
we have to face people patient from the different nationality, so they're having a
mm,
different background, different education system, different standards are there, and cultural variation is also there. So there is initially lot of struggle was there for
mm,
me also
mm,
to get adjusted
mm,
in this new environment, because back
mm.
home I was comfortable because when we are growing up we know how to adjust uh, in our comfort zone. But when you moved out to any new place, you have a struggle. I have started from the scratch to develop, to grow my professional career, because when I shifted here no one knows me. But after
Mm,
slowly
mm.
with the my hard work, dedication, I tried and I have got what I want to it.
Wow, wow, that's great. Nice to know that. Nice to hear your the story, the backstory that you told earlier also, and this one also. Tell me one thing. You were talking about the culture. I'm sure that you were talking about the culture in society and all that. But then there's a different kind of culture that we talk about when we work outside, which is work culture. How is it different from the work culture in India? Is it the same kind of stressful? I see doctors, especially, leading a very stressed life in India. They really work hard. I mean, this is one community that really works hard. Earlier, I used to think that doctors, oh, that's a very good. Once you do your degree and all that, you are comfortable. But what do you think about it, and how the work culture in Dubai is different from the work culture in India, especially in your profession, medical profession?
Actually, it's never doctor's life is nowhere is very easy. It's a ever growing. You have to keep on growing, and it's the
Mm,
same in
mm,
India. Also, it's a tough for the every doctor to sustain themselves, and same thing
right.
in the Dubai. And Dubai, the
Mm,
additional thing is that you have to cope up with the multinationality, because people here from US, UK, and around the world, you name the country, from there people are working here. So diverse
mm,
culture is there, and their
mm,
background is also diverse, so you have to adapt in the communication and you have to collaborate with them so that you can work properly, you can provide the your technical knowledge properly. So it's a difficult but challenging, and I loved that thing to.
because you learn a lot in a challenging atmosphere. You tend to love a lot. Again, the same thing that you said, that if you are in your comfort zone, you don't come out of it, you don't learn. So learning zone is always outside the comfort zone.
You will grow
Acha,
when you
jo
are outside your comfort zone, for sure.
comfort zone. You're right. You're right. Tell me one more thing. Like, do you think like there are a lot of ample of opportunities for medical professionals outside India? And now the boundaries are being removed. You can move anywhere. Though it is challenging, I think there are different kind of courses that you need to do. Rules and regulations are different there, perhaps maybe more strict here. But do you feel that yes, opportunities are also there for healthcare professionals?
Yeah, there is a opportunity is there, but the way you have to plan it, the plan, the
Hmm.
licensing, the you
Hmm.
should know the healthcare system, their
Hmm.
requirement, and what all you have to learn, and along with that technical knowledge, with that communication, both thing will go hand by hand. So both thing you have to, everyone should know, and to get the proper position in the outside India.
Wow, that's very good. But opportunities are there, as you said.
It's there. It's
You
there for
yeah.
doctors is
You just
always there is a requirement is there,
mm,
but you have
mm,
to
mm.
plan it properly. You have to
Right,
know how the licensing system is there, because doctor is a specialized thing, so you have to get the
right.
license of the particular
Mm,
country where you are planning to work.
mm,
So that
mm, mm.
system you have to get adjust, and that regulation you have to know, then only.
Right.
Otherwise it will be at the end. For Indians it's easy because we are hardworking.
Ah. We are highly adaptable as well. We get adjusted anywhere and everywhere. One thing that I want to ask you. Let's shift our focus to something else, and especially I'm talking about with reference to India. We know about the Medicare and healthcare facilities in India and all that. Okay, so we have two extremes we are working with, but one thing that I have always struggled with to understand actually, that do you feel that people here they don't want to go for regular checkups, regular tests and all that, like the medical screening and all that, that's very very poor, and in some cases, especially in villages and all that, it is in shambles. So most of the time we get to know, the doctors get to know about the disease at a very advanced stage, right? What do you think about that? And do you think it is just because of the lack of awareness and all that, that people they are shy of going for a regular medical checkup even on yearly basis?
I will say there are two misconceptions are there in India. First thing,
Right.
everyone feel I'm okay, I'm healthy, I don't need any test. So no one
Right.
want to do anything. I'm fine, I'm
Right.
feeling healthy. But that is not
Right.
the way. You have to do your regular health checkup, because many things you can identify at early stage,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
can treat them, you can give better treatment and less cost also for that
Hmm.
treatment. And second
Hmm.
misconception is there, that if we will do lab test only, that is also a
Okay.
misconception, that if I will do lab test, everything is coming, I will interpret myself. That is also very,
Oh,
you should
okay.
get do the health checkup along with your physician, and because you
Hmm.
need the proper guidance also, because health checkup,
Very.
if you google and make the thing, you
Hmm.
get the thing,
Hmm.
but the practitioner will assist you, guide you what is the actual requirement you need as per your age or your health.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you on that. Now tell me one thing. Like if I ask you some of the regular checkups that people should go through almost every year, so that they get to know about some of the diseases, both for males and females, okay, men and women. So what would you suggest?
See, regular checkup is like every laboratory is offering that thing, like normal
Hmm.
CBC, total cholesterol, sugar for
Hmm.
diabetes,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
your lipid profile to check
Hmm.
for your
Hmm.
heart, lipid,
Hmm.
liver, and
Hmm.
the kidney function, and thyroid function. This is the basic requirement. And as
Hmm.
the age progress, as you become
Hmm.
more than 35 and 40,
Hmm.
then there will
Hmm.
be some additional test you have to do according to your age, sex, male or
Hmm.
female, or
Hmm.
according to your family history. If some diseases are there, so you are prone to those diseases, so accordingly you have to do. But the basic test is this only. Everyone should do at least once in a year, ideally 6 months, but once in a year, every healthy person should test this thing, so that you can know what is going on inside your body.
Absolutely. I thought about it long time back, that why not give body screening or like all the tests and all that as a gift on birthday.
That is a
But
very good
again,
idea.
you know,
Yeah.
but again, I sometimes feel like some kind of misconceptions are there, that the people will say in the family, no, not on birthday, or why to go for tests and all that. People would rather spend money on parties, birthday parties and all that. They would always order a big cake, a birthday bash would be there, but no testing. So do you think that's a good idea, that we should gift somebody a test, proper like body screening test and all that?
Actually, that I thought that in India, everyone is keeping health at the last. But
Ah,
you have to give preference to yourself first, then everything should be come as a second. That
right.
is the awareness government has to make it. Government is working, but more awareness and everything should be given in the schools, in the colleges also.
Mm,
So
mm,
everyone
mm,
start thinking, no, my health should come first, then my professional and other thing will come. So this need to be there, and everyone, and there is a no nothing bad that if we are gifting this thing as a complete health checkup as a
mm,
package. Now
mm,
we are giving a
mm,
card, gift card. As a gift card,
Yes.
if you can give this health package, it's you are gifting means a long life, long
Absolutely.
without disease
Absolutely.
free life to that person. So
Right.
it's a very best gift I can say you can give to
Yes.
anyone.
Yeah, I think they should be like health checkups, gift cards, and all that, and it should be gifted on the birthdays.
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing that you earlier touched this topic, so I kept this question for the later part. That you said that two important things when people want to go out, and even people here in leadership roles, they should have their expertise. Of course, people work for those core competencies and all that. But I see a lot of people actually ignore their human assets, especially in the leadership role. For example, communication, presentation, interpersonal skills, and all that. According to you, how important is communication in leadership roles?
Their technical knowledge will make you to become a good specialist, but
Mm, mm,
communication will help you to become a impactful leader. If you want to
mm,
become a leader, you
mm,
should be have a good communication skills so that you can communicate to the patient, to the clinicians, and to the
mm,
your staff, your team, so that
mm,
you can
mm, mm,
collaborate with the team. You can make the good team, and
mm.
this will help you to grow like a exponentially. Can grow if you are have
Right.
a good speaker, and your goal will be you can achieve much faster than without good communication.
Absolutely right. So, one of the things that I always talk about, good communication means having a good perception in the minds of the people also. And in today's world, perception matters a lot. First, you are perceived as a leader. Like you also, they might have perceived that okay, she is the lady. She has her expertise. She has her certificates and everything. But at the same time, she also has all the leadership qualities, and that's how you got there. Now, tell me one thing. Like, despite that, you also thought that you should upskill yourself in communication. So, how that thought came into your mind when you joined Profluent and all that, and how has been your experience? Please tell us about
As
that.
for my technical skill and management administration, I am doing very well. But I realized that I have to communicate to the higher management and to the staff. And being staying in a multi cultural city,
Mm,
communication
mm,
play a very important role. So I want to get more confident, and so that
mm,
I can communicate my thought and everything
mm,
more clearly
mm,
to the
mm,
everyone. That's why I
mm,
thought I will skill up my this communication
mm,
skill, and so that it will help me to
mm,
get more
mm.
grow in my career.
Great. We do a lot of things there, as you know, Richa. You have been a part of it. You have been a very, very active participant there. Like we do a lot of activities. We do one-on-one. We do talk rooms. We do video making and all that. We do community session. What is your favorite? Which one is your favorite, and why?
Everything, every all part is my favorite, but the best one I will say one to one sessions and the talk room. In one to one
Mm,
session, I get what all the things I have to rectify. So one to
mm,
one session, whatever mistake
mm,
I'm making,
mm,
so that
mm,
I got clarified. And in
mm,
the talk
mm,
room, I like any topic I have to speak
mm,
spontaneously. There's no
mm,
time to think.
mm,
You have to start speaking on any random topic, and there
mm,
many people will join from the different backgrounds, so that you have a exposure to different people
mm.
and different from the different society and different profession. That is very helpful. And along with that, additional thing is the video making. That is also built lot of confidence in me.
Great. It's really nice to have you inside the community. But one thing I would like to ask you, like, if you have to give an advice or a suggestion to somebody, especially a healthcare professional who wants to move out and do something great outside, what advice or suggestion would you give it to them?
First thing, just keep learning, because medical
Mm,
professional, healthcare professional is
mm,
never stop.
mm,
You have
mm,
to keep
mm,
on getting new knowledge, because it's a keep growing.
mm,
This profession is keep growing.
mm,
To
mm,
sustain,
mm,
you have
mm,
to keep on learning your technical
mm,
skill. Additional to this,
mm,
the communication. If you are planning to go abroad, the communication play a very important role, because
mm,
it's
mm,
there you have to face different culture people, and different, and English is the only way you can communicate to the different people. So build your communication skill to the strong, and start building from the initially, and know about their healthcare system for the all
Mm,
the requirement
mm,
through your
mm.
friends, or what are the connection is there. That is also very important if you're planning to go abroad anywhere.
Great, great. One more thing, one last question I would like to ask you, and that's very, very important because most of the people who are inside the community also, they are quite experienced. They are at good position, and all of them actually they have faced challenges as happens actually in the initial stage of their life, and this is how you people reach there. So, if I have to ask you one or two life lessons to give to our audience, to our viewers today, what those life lessons would be?
First thing is the keep learning and improve your communication skill. That is very important. If you keep on learning, you will never become old. That is the first thing. If you
That's very
want
good
to
thing.
be young, you have to keep
Yeah.
your learning skill ongoing.
Mm,
And second is
very good.
embrace the challenge, accept the challenge.
Mm,
Just
mm,
keep in
mm,
your mind, if you are ready for
mm,
the challenge, if you are ready for taking risk, you will grow
mm,
in your life. So that two things is very important. That also I also learned from my life, that if I accept the challenge, there is a path is getting open
mm,
to grow
mm,
further
mm,
and further.
mm.
And same thing I'm telling to my kids also.
Wow, wow. Wonderful, Richa. It was really a nice conversation with you. And the way that you answered questions and all that, uh, I also learned few things. And definitely our viewers must have learned a lot from the lessons that you gave, the pieces of advice that you gave to them. One thing that I like that you said, two things rather. One is, of course, the life is not in your comfort zone, it is out of it. And the second thing that you said just now, that you said that yes, I mean, you if you want to grow, you have to take risk. So if you are not inviting challenges, you are only becoming weaker. You are making yourself weaker. And the third thing, of course, if you want to remain young, keep learning. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Richa, to be here. It was a pleasure to have you here, and we definitely would invite you once again to our show, 1% Podcast Show, and we'll talk on some other topic someday next. Thank you so much for today. Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
for having me here. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So this was Dr. Richa Gupta for you, and I'm sure that you must have learned from her experiences, her pieces of advice that she gave to you, and to everyone actually who was listening to it. So this is what we do, and this is our community. This is how we also learn actually from one another. So for now, this is all from your host and your host Sunit Kapoor in our 1% Podcast Show. See you in the next one.